Cowabunga. How you guys doing? I'm doing great. So this is a little bit of an experimental setup. Behind me is Silver Falls. Talk about that a little bit more in a minute. You know how on the, so I'm using the rear camera. Normally I use the selfie cam, but I wanted to capture as much of this as I could. And have it on the, what would you call it? The half zoom, the 0.5 zoom, to where it's zoomed out. If one is like regular, you know, you can zoom in and make it bigger. I've made it, you know, a wider lens. So, as you probably saw in the title, or on the thumbnail there, this is my full review of Valle Crucis from Murphy and McNeil, a collaboration with Joe at Black Mountain Shaving. I'm using my contract tech. If my memory serves me correctly, these were made from 1938 to 1945, and I have a first use Gillette Silver Blue in it. Scooping with my Iron Man scoop. This is in the Kodiak base, and it is just a dream of a base. It doesn't take much. You do have to work it a little longer than you may be used to. It does take water. So if you spend an extra 30 seconds to a minute, I'd say more like a minute, working the lather, you're going to be in for a treat. And I'm intentionally using a little more soap than I think I need. I just don't have much time for any mistakes out here. I've shaved with this now 3 or 4 times. I did purchase everything in this video. The exception being is that I was able to take part of the early release or early buy-in, whatever you want to call it, the friends and family plan. I'm going to assume that most that watch this have seen my first impressions video. If you haven't seen my first impressions video, I'll try and put the link synced with this right here, and it'll be in the description. I'm not new to this fragrance, and that's because of the EDP. I'll let you watch the first impressions, or I'll just leave you hanging to get more details on that. So when this soap set came, one of my first and main objectives was I wanted to see how close the soap, splash, and solid cologne and balm were. So I bought the whole lineup. Previous to the release, I already had the EDP. At Murphy and McNeil, you can buy the solid cologne, the balm, all these things in the photo right there. And so I have purchased all of this. And I can't be more impressed with what Bill has done here with matching the fragrance to the EDP. It's not easy. You know, when you have an EDP or an EDT or a parfum, there's not all the other ingredients going on, like the bear tallow or all the other stuff that you see in the ingredients list out there on the soap. And all of those things can alter the fragrance. I've talked about this before. One of the reasons why with Phoenix Shaving that you'll notice on their ingredients list for their aftershave, you'll almost always notice a different list of ingredients. And the reasons why that is done, and I've asked Douglas this, is because even if our nose can't detect it on a molecular level, now these are my words, this isn't Douglas word for word, but even on a molecular level, all of these fragrances, or all these ingredients, have their own fragrance, and together, or even by themselves, they can change the way that the aftershave smells. And so that's one of the reasons why you'll see Douglas do that, and I imagine that there are others. It's a beautiful lather, gorgeous. I'll start working this into my beard. The notes, instead of reading them all off, I'm just going to put them up here on the screen, and then I'll talk about them a little bit more. And if you've seen my first impressions, my opinion really hasn't changed. But what I can tell you that I wasn't able to tell you then with 100% assurity is that Bill, with his solid, the balm, and the splash, has pulled it off. The balm is, of course, very light, and that goes back to all the other ingredients that's going on. The soap off the tub smells like the EDP. It doesn't smell exactly like it, and that goes back to all the ingredients that are going on. So you, of course, start off with that very citrus opening, and this is just an absolutely beautiful fragrance, and that's why, like I said in my first impressions, as soon as I heard that this was coming out a couple of months ago, or whenever it was that I first heard from Joe at Black Mountain Shaving, I knew I had to buy it. And I was more than thrilled when he offered me the opportunity to buy it early. And so I jumped on it. That's how much I love this fragrance. I've never, prior to Valle Crucis, I've never owned the Kodiak base, Murphy & McNeil's Balm, or Murphy & McNeil's Solid. The Solid, when you first put it on, and this is common with some solid colognes, and Bill's is this way, when you first put it on, just like with the aftershave, you're not going to get the exact smell right away. But if you put that solid cologne on the way that I've talked about in my solid cologne video, within 30 seconds, a minute of it being on the skin, it's perfect. And in that video too, I also talk about the way that a solid cologne behaves compared to an EDP, which is why I wear both of them in conjunction together. To my right, I have my bowl of water and all my other doohickeys. In the B-roll, I have my setup. This is Silver Falls. There's 10 waterfalls here, and I have what it's called the Trail of 10 Falls. It's a loop, and that loop is 7.82 miles, I think it is. It's just under 8 miles, the entire loop. And there's 4 or 5 waterfalls that you can go behind. I'm going to come back here and eventually do some shaves behind the waterfall. I had to wait till now for foot traffic to die down. This is the biggest of the waterfalls behind me. This is what they call the South Fall. It's a 172-foot drop. This Kodiak base is easily one of the best bases I've ever encountered. Without a doubt. It does. Oh, while I'm thinking about it. So my bush malt, I'm going to put that right up here. In my first impressions, I was wrong, and you'll see why in the photo. I contacted Bill, and why I contacted Bill was because there's 2 different people in the comments on my first impressions that they mentioned that they didn't think that old bush malt was ever released in a Kodiak. And I thought, okay. This must be some, special limited release or something, because I didn't purchase the old bush malt. It was a gift from John Kearney, Cutting with Kerns. Thank you once again, John. I love that fragrance. And I'm probably going to murder the pronunciation of the soap base. It's Slaint, right? How did I do? And then one other person DM'd me the other day, and so I thought, man, I better ask Bill about this. There's now 3 people telling me that's not a Kodiak base, even though you can see there on the label it says Kodiak. And so I sent Bill the photos that you guys are looking at, and he said that that is indeed the slant base, and that the sticker on the back of my tub was put there by mistake, that they had never released it in the Kodiak base. So I just wanted to point that out, that if you were wondering, it never was and it still isn't. But that base, it performs very similar to the Kodiak. I haven't shaved with them side by side, but last night when I shaved, I played with the two bases side by side. Two separate bowls, two separate brushes. I shaved with this, the Kodiak Valle Crucis. But they felt the same in the hand, and now I want to, like, you know, put the Bushmalt on one side and Valle Crucis on the other, and I'll probably do that this week, just for shits and giggles. We put a little squirt of water for this third pass. So like I was saying, you have that very citrus opening, the petitgrain, so you have orange, bergamot, lemon. The petitgrain is extracted from the leaf of the bitter orange tree. And that is bringing like a green, woody note to it. And it may even be adding like a citrus zest, but it's hard to pick that out for me with the orange, the bergamot, and the lemon. From beginning to end, this is a beautiful fragrance. I got several compliments on it just this last week alone, wearing it, and then the wife loves it. Joe killed it with this fragrance, and it's a lady killer, no joke. This week has been so awesome. I did Dark Night and this. In the middle is lavender, and this lavender, to my nose, is bringing with it, look at that base, you guys. This is outdoors, you know, very primitive setup I have here. Gorgeous. This is my G5, my white and black one from the wet shaving store, G5 Frank's Knot. A woody herbal floral from the lavender. The cardamom is definitely bringing with it some kind of aromatic spice, and it's just beautiful together with that lavender. Benzoin, that's definitely bringing with it a good balsamic undertone and helping to ground this fragrance for the long haul. And I think it's kind of the whole fragrance from beginning to end, it's not overly sweet, but there's definitely a sweet vibe to it. The lavender is absolutely perfect, and like I said in my first impressions, the vanilla in this is nothing short of magic. The sandalwood, woody, warm, and creamy. I've given that one some thought. And I could be wrong, right, guys? This is just all pure speculation, my opinion. I have no idea. Just having fun with this. Tonka bean and earthy woodiness. What's next? Amber, musky sweet powder note. I'm going to call that good, not do any cleanups. The vanilla is rich and velvety, a deep sweetness, and I really believe it's working to enhance the other notes. It and the benzoin are going a long way to do that, in my opinion. And I you know, this is all just in fun, you guys. I don't have any degrees. You know, I'm a bus driver. I drive intercity transit up and down the I-5 from Amtrak station to Amtrak station. So I'm just a hobbyist like you guys. Frag head. And the labdanum, sweet, earthy, aromatic, and bringing with it a very light musk. This is not a musky fragrance, but that labdanum is perfect. It's beautiful. Before I get into the splash, the winner, we drew the winner before we headed out here today for the Shave Supply. Can you see it? I'm wearing my shirt. Gareth at the Shave Supply gave me this shirt. My first mosquito. I'm wearing the Outdoorsman's Friend from Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements for a repellent. saw that, you know, I believe it works 110% and doesn't contain DEET, 100% natural. But the winner of the giveaway, the $20 gift card to Shave Supply, I'm probably going to pronounce your name right, but I'm going to last name wrong, David, but David Ganji. Congratulations, David. He's entered a few giveaways of mine, or you know, that I've helped to put on, and this is the first one he's won. So congratulations, David. I haven't contacted you yet, but when I get home, I'll send you a message and give you a heads up before I post this video. It's Monday, and I hope to have it up by Tuesday. This fragrance is just beautiful. A modern, sensual, alluring, a sensual, citrusy, aromatic, sweet fragrance. The balm, it's, you know, not strong on fragrance, which is good. I'm impressed with it. This week, between the Dark Knight Hathor soap base, this Kodiak soap base, and then Hags's Splash and Aftershave Balm, I have been getting some of the best results. It's very rarely that in 1 week you get 2 soap sets that I love as much as I do these 2. It's been a long time since I've received 2 soap sets in 1 week that I was just like, not only did I enjoy the fragrance, but blown away by the performance. The performance of Hathor, the performance of Kodiak is just killer. Absolutely killer. Thank you again, Joe and Bill, for the early access to Valle Crucis. Thank you, Gareth, for your support of not only myself and the things that you've done to help me personally, but also supporting my channel. I appreciate you. I want to thank you all for joining me out here today. How did I do? Did I stay out of the way of the waterfall? Is it still recording? Because I haven't flipped around. I can't see it. That's one thing about doing that. You guys ever think of any like equipment or cameras? Like, let me know. I need to step up my game a little bit. A lot of it in some ways. Thank you for joining me. I can't not recommend this fragrance, this base enough. Like, at the very least, get a sample. You can get the soap samples for $4.99, I believe it is. All the links will be in the description. Non-affiliate with Murphy and McNeil. I'm not going to make $1 off of this. I love it, and I'm telling you right now, it's a banger. It's a straight freaking banger. It is some of the best stuff Maynard. For real. For real. Like, I don't want to sit here and like jump up and down and overhype it, but I don't think I could overhype it enough. It's effing amazing. And back to work tomorrow. I'd rather stay here, kind of in a out of bounds. You'll see that here in a minute, maybe in my B-roll. Take care. I love you a long time, and I'll stop rambling. Absolutely beautiful, right? It's still recording. Yay team, yay me. Oh, what do we have up there? So you can walk behind it. There's some peoples. Hello, peoples. You guys take care. Well, how did my experimental shave go? Welcome to the B-roll. I'm down this little trail. I'm really hoping that this turns out. I'm recording this before the shave. I've done my little setup, tested it, and it looked good. So I'm really hoping this turns out. It's gonna be tricky having my mirror set up, but I'll be sitting right here, or I was, by the time you watch this. The tripod right there. And I'll have all my other goodies to my right. For those who don't know, I use these dram containers for my travel tube for my brushes. So thanks for joining me. It's the little big things. That's a big little thing right there. 172 feet Take care. This should work, right? Yeah. Yakety schmackety, bing bong boom. Got a duck. It's just after 9 o'clock. Starting to look like civilization.